All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. Good to see you all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's go live here on Instagram. There we go. We're live on YouTube. Hey, good morning, everybody. Wait a second. I thought I stopped the music. Hold on. Here we go. There we go. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Listen, conversation for you today, question for you today is how predictable is your success? That's a conversation with you for you today. My question for you is how predictable is your success? I can share with you this. I can share with you this. The predictability of your success is based upon the habits. It's based upon the things you repeat. What do you do that's repetitive in your life, right? You probably wake up, you do some things, you probably brush your teeth, you probably use the restroom, you probably check your cell phone out. Maybe you have a tea or some water, maybe some coffee. What is your repetition? Your repetition causes your success. So my question for you is how predictable is your failure? How predictable is your stress? Think about that for just a second. How predictable is your stress? We know this based upon the ability of somebody's response, right? How you respond to things. It's not what life does to you, it's how you respond to it. Tony Robbins says life happens for you, not to you. This requires you to have some space, some time, some understanding, some review, some insight, some introspection. This is why successful people that you hear about, when you ask them, well, what's your morning routine? Usually they get up and they meditate for 2 hours. 2 hours. Well, Sean, I don't have enough time for that. I can predict your future. If you're not setting up the engine, if you're not setting up the rocket that is going to deliver you to your success, I can pretty much guarantee you that you're going to struggle. And the rocket are your thoughts. It's the only thing man has complete and absolute control over, your thoughts. You may say, well, I don't have control over my thoughts. I can predict your success. Well, I don't have time for meditation. I can predict your success. It's a theory. I can predict where you're at. I can predict how you'll respond to certain situations. I can predict how your mental toughness is. I can predict your addiction to approval. So if your desire is to have unpredictable success, because here's the thing, you're going to repeat what you've been taught. Where did we learn wealth? Where did we learn wealth? How were you taught wealth? You can't say that you were taught wealth by your recent business experience. You can say that you were taught wealth by the way that you were raised. And let me ask you, the teachers that are teaching you wealth, the teachers that taught you wealth, how were they taught wealth? And how were they taught wealth? And the teachers of them, and how were they taught wealth? So it's why we use a phrase like generational curses. Listen, we're trying to teach poverty. You know what else? I mean, we're trying to teach wealth, Dr. Freud to the lobby. We're trying to teach wealth. You know what else was taught? Poverty. Your success is predictable. How many of you, if you're in the powerful business of me loving more, network marketing, mentors leading mentors, MLM, moms making lasting money. So if you're in this profession of where you work with people, how many times have you guessed, have you said, have you come up with a prediction about somebody, right? We say, don't prejudge. And yet we're wired to judge. And we have a conversation with somebody and they'd say, wow, they're going to be amazing at this, or wow, they're not going to do so well at this, or wow, they don't know anybody, or wow, fill in the blank. See, you understand this concept of predictable success. It's when we turn the lens of vision back on ourselves that we don't necessarily like the view. So what do we do to change that? What do we do to change that? You change the little things. It's the little things that make up the big things. It's the slight adjustment over time. It's the principle of Kaizen, 1% improvement every day. It's the little adjustment over time. All too often, we try to change everything rapidly with massive influence, and we want to explode our disbeliefs and our challenges. The challenge with that is that you can absolutely rip apart the fabric of time and space of who you were. Here's where the challenge comes in. Here's the predictable success. When you decide that you're going to make a significant change in your life and you're going to wake up at 5 o'clock every morning because that's the commitment you made to yourself, and the next day you don't, and the day after that you don't, it's because we haven't filled up that space where we said we're not going to do that. It leaves a space. It leaves a void in our pattern. It leaves a void in our identity. If we don't have enough emotion to fill that void, we will repeat it. Here's a question for you. Can you make somebody do something they don't want to do? Most people would say, no, you can't. I say the answer is yes, you can. If I used a gun, not recommending it, but if I used a gun and held a gun to somebody's head and said, you're going to smoke. I don't want to smoke. You're going to smoke. They would smoke. Now, they may not be able to repeat the pattern, but you could do it. It's called leverage. It's called leverage. The challenge with trying and attempting and wanting to move forward with something now is that we don't allow ourselves enough leverage to challenge the pattern. It's called habitualization. It's called hedonics. We're responsible for our own joy. It's dopamine hit. It's scrolling TikTok. It's doing these things that we know we should not do. We don't want to do. We get mad. Listen, drop an M in the chat if you've ever done something and at the end of doing it, you were like, I shouldn't have done it. Drop an M in the chat if you've ever had that happen. So all of a sudden, if now all of a sudden you're dropping an M in the chat, that tells me I can predict your success. Does that make sense? So Sean, what do we do? Well, I teach my students to dry yourself off differently when you get out of the shower. Hopefully you're taking a shower every day. Hopefully you're taking a shower every day. And if you sometimes twice a day. If you take a shower, when you get done, when you go to grab the towel, stop and become consciously aware. Do you normally grab it with your right hand? Do you normally have it hanging on a hook? Do you have it hanging over the shower? Is it on the toilet seat? Where is the towel? Put the towel in a different place and see at the end of the shower if when you open the door to get the towel, you're like, where's the towel? If the towel you use to dry yourself off was put in a different place and you have to be consciously aware of it, is it possible? Is it possible that your life runs in an organized pattern of poverty? Well, how could put my towel before I take my shower? Everything. See, you're wanting to change the things that have your identity attached to it. Listen carefully. You want to change the things that have your identity attached to it. Your work, your relationship, your income, your beliefs. I want you to begin this secret little attack on your patterns, on things that don't have your identity. Nobody has ever asked me in my 40 years of human potential training, nobody has ever asked me, hey, listen, before we get started, how do you dry yourself off? Nobody's ever asked me that so that I could link my identity to how I dry myself off in the shower. We have to begin with the patterns that don't rip apart our identity. You want to drink more water. You know anybody who's ever wanted to drink more water? Drop a W in the chat. I'm going to hydrate. I'm going to drink my gallon a day, my half gallon a day. If you wanted to drink more water, that changes your identity. How many people do you know say, I'm going to drink more water? And they don't. You know it. They don't. You know it. They don't. Because that will change your identity. Sean, really? Yes. If you became hydrated, would your body physically change? Yes. Would you be a little less stressed? Yes. Would you be a little bit better in your detox? Yes. Might you lose some weight? Yes. So we can't drink water. We have these identities. I can't drink water, or I don't drink enough water, or I need to drink more water. And all of a sudden, when you shift the way that you consume water, your identity changes. That's just water. There's no threat to drinking water, only to your identity. Water's not going to increase your income, although it could make you more thoughtful and have you be able to solve more, create more solutions. It's not going to change your relationship, although it could make you less of a interesting person, less of a frustrated person, less of a challenging person. But it's just drinking water. And why can't we give our mind, why can't we give our brain, why can't we give our decision-making capability and capacity an order to drink more water? Why, if we gave our brain an order to drink more water, why don't we? It's something called neuroencoding. Neuroencoding. We have a thought and it has a response in our body. I drink more water. The first thing that happens at a subconscious, below the radar part of our mind is we don't drink water. And then you don't have a response to that. And now you want to go and create more income. I want to go create more. I'm going to talk to more people. Do you realize the shift and the shattering of a disbelief that people want to join you in business happens when all of a sudden you say, I'm going to talk to more people? Your brain says, nobody wants to talk to you, all happening at a subconscious level, because the filter you have to your subconscious is your conscious. It's your conscious mind that's the filter to your subconscious. Now, all of a sudden, you want to go build a bigger business and you don't have any evidence that you can build a bigger business. How do we shift this? How do we change this? It's called affirmations. It's called affirmations. It's called self-talk. It's called mental toughness. It's called neuroencoding. It's called addiction to approval. Yet you're taught, write out some sticky notes on some yellow papers, write out some notes on some sticky notes and say, I am rich, I am wealthy, I am this. It's not going to work. I should say it's not going to work. There's a large possibility that it won't work. Why? Because here's the thing, pay attention. Here's how I can predict your success. You ready? This is a big one. Who's telling you you can be successful? I want you to answer that question. Who is telling you you can be successful? That's part one. Part two is, how often are they telling you? See, for the most part, we're the ones telling ourselves we're success. It's called our self-talk. It's what we say to ourselves when we're not thinking at 80,000 thoughts a day. 80% of those are repetitive. They're from yesterday. And about 80% of those repetitive thoughts are not in our favor. So who's telling you you're successful? 50,000 thoughts from yesterday that are not in your favor, that find fault, that find challenge, that say you're not good enough, you're not tall enough, you're not strong enough, your hair isn't long enough, short enough, it's full, it's flat, it's curly, it's this, it's that, I want this, I want that, your eyebrows are this, your one eye's lower than the other, your one ear is lower than the other, your clothes are outdated, you got holes in your pants, and that's before you get out of bed. So how do we shift this? How do we change this? How do we adapt this? How do we adopt this? We work on our self-talk. Here's the challenge with self-talk. The challenge with self-talk is that your voice is the one that's saying it. So when you write down a sticky note and you get your journal out and you say, I am successful. and you say it in the same voice that for the last decade, the last 2 decades, the last 3 decades has told you you're not enough, and you say, I am successful. The 30 years of you beating yourself up with your self-talk says you have no evidence that you're successful. Nice try, Skippy. Try something else. So that's why you stop writing. That's why you stop believing. That's why you stop journaling. How many of you ever started journaling and then you stopped journaling? How many of you ever started drinking water and then you stopped drinking the water that you needed to drink? How many of you ever started an exercise program and then you stopped exercising? How many of you have ever started a business and then failed at the business? How many of you ever started a relationship and failed at the relationship? See, we have all these evidences, all of these evidences that we are not enough. And then somebody comes along and says, do this, you'll be enough. Do this, you'll be enough. Join me, you'll be enough. Do this and you'll be enough. Just wear those clothes, you'll be enough. Wear these shoes, you'll be enough. Do this Instagram thing, you'll be enough. Follow this algorithm, you'll be enough. And we keep pointing outside of us for our enoughness. Understand, this is a hard part. This is a struggle. Most people don't want to hear this next sentence. Your success, your rewire, the rewire of your brain. I'm a certified brain trainer, certified neuroencoding specialist, a certified mental toughness trainer, a certified addiction to approval trainer, and a certified hypnotherapist. The journey you're about to start, if you started today, is going to be 18 months. 18 months for these vicious habitual identities and actions that you currently have to be unwired. It's why what I do is called personal undevelopment. Personal undevelopment. Everything you need is already inside you. Everything you need to go double your income, possibly triple your income, is already inside of you. It's the discipline of doing it that has escaped you. It is the discipline of your consistency, your repetitiveness of new that doesn't exist yet. So what do? You begin with understanding the simple fact of gratitude. Everybody says repetition is the mother of all success. Drop an R in the chat if you've ever heard repetition is the mother of all success. Let me ask you a question. Your current success, is that what you want? Your current success, is that what you want? Drop a Y for yes or an N for no. Your current level of success, is that what you want? Congratulations. This is the result of your repetition. This is the result of your repetition. And who is responsible for your repetition? You are. It's called the DIY method, the do-it-yourself method of success. And if the do-it-yourself method of success has produced results you are not enjoying, you do not want to repeat for the rest of your life, then you have to ask yourself, who can I put my vision on? Who can I put my learning into? Who can I put my access with so that I can have a new repetition, be able to repeat it regularly, and not destroy who I want to become? There's a handful of people in the world that can help you do that. There's a handful. It's not your upline, I can promise you. It's not your upline. It's not probably your spouse who you sometimes want to please. It's not a book. A book is a DIY method. Listen, I'm all for reading and understanding. I'm a voracious reader. I just seem to read the same book over and over and over because it changes every time. So the first thing that was going to need to change in your life, if you want to acquire this new identity that you've been struggling for decades, is that you have to create a new set of burning desires. You have to find something that you're going to want to arrive at in this lifetime. What's the thing we talk about when everybody is on their deathbed? We always say, I shouldn't have spent more time at work. I should have spent more time with my kids or my grandkids or my this or my that or this, that, or the other. It's usually not the activity that they built their whole life doing. I should have went on more vacation. I should have said yes to this. I should have said yes to that. So now the question becomes, if all of this requires guidance, you can't do what others do. You have to do it your way. The challenge is that when we find things we like, find things we want to do, find things we want to be a part of, we want to do it their way. And they'll tell you, do it this way. %98 of the population have some of the greatest access to all information on the planet. My cousin Google, right? They have access to all of the how to do this, how to do that, how to become rich, how to become skinny, how to become romantic, how to become this, how to become that, how to become this. 98% of the population, 90% of the population of the planet have access to the internet. The people who are struggling, who want to create wealth, if you're in the business of creating wealth, you have access to tools to improve that wealth. Excuse me. So why don't more people understand the how-to? Why aren't they changing their how-to? Thank you, Sophie. More people are not accessing the resources because they're not resourceful. They want somebody to tell them what to do. Tell me what to do. Tell me how to go. Tell me what I should say. Where should I go? What should I do? They're not being resourceful. You have access. Listen, you want to go change the way you look at things, right? Wayne Dyer said, change the way you look at things and the things you look at. There's 4,000 hours of my content on YouTube. There's 50, 60 hours of it in Instagram. Why would I give away 4,000 hours and hundreds of hours so that somebody might find a nugget that they could wake up to? They could wake up to their new self, their new identity, and realize the DIY method doesn't work. 98% of the population of people who are struggling and wanting more and living paycheck to paycheck, 50%, 60% of the population living paycheck to paycheck. They say about 80% of the people in the United States, if they miss their second paycheck, would have to file for bankruptcy. I don't know. I'm not an economist. I'm not sure the numbers. These are the numbers that were told to me. I don't know if they're true or false. I think they're probably not too far off. So how do you change? You start in gratitude. I have a very dear friend of mine, Daniela Jukic. She teaches gratitude. When you start in gratitude, you start your morning in gratitude and understanding gratitude over being grateful. Grateful is a strategy. Gratitude is a state. I'm grateful. I am. And this is an aside. This is kind of a throw it in. I am is a root chakra statement, right? The energies, the chakras, the 7 chakras. I am is a root chakra statement. I am the root chakra. When you say, I am this, I am that, that is a security. That is a safety conversation. That is all about being secure. It's not about freedom. It's not about expansion. It's not about expression. It's why I am statements are the most criminal statements when you understand the I do, the I feel, the I see, the I love, the I understand. When you understand the rest of the chakras, you'll no longer do just an I am statement, because an I am statement puts you into a prison. It's a whole bunch of psychology. We're not going to get into that right now. But an I am statement doesn't work by itself. I am, you're saying it, it's your voice is going, your subconscious is going, you're not that anything at all. You have no evidence that you're wealthy, that you're rich. It's why people who say I am statements, 98% of them never succeed. How do I know this? Just look at the statistics. Why are people mad about network marketing? Well, only the people at the top make the money. No, it's only the people who understand how to move their body and re-identify the identity that they've chosen to live their life with. Network marketing is a vicious conversation about you becoming more. But we don't want to talk about that. We want to talk about a comp plan and 17 ways to make money. Network marketing is the place you go if you want more in life. MLM, me living more. Me loving more. MLM, me loving more. It's not about a comp plan. It's about you learning to love you, which is why most people fail, because they're never taught how to love themselves better. Just a thought. All right, I've rattled on long enough. I appreciate you all. For those of you on Instagram, if you want to join me in the VIP community and for some live Q&A right now, you can go to unlearnme.live, unlearnme.live, and you can ask me some additional questions. So I love you, Instagram and YouTube. I appreciate you as well. I will see you all where? I'll see you at the next event. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now. And there, and YouTube, love you tons. Thanks for all of the conversations. Thanks for all of the amazing